the governor of Abia State, Alex Otti, and some others have alleged that you are an APC infiltrator into the party, sent to destabilize the party. How do you respond to this?
Well, in the next couple of weeks and few days, we know who is actually used by the APC to infiltrate the party, whether it is Alex Otti or myself. It will be very clear very soon as to who is being used by APC or who is not being used by anybody to destabilize the party. I want to say clearly that in 2024 in the convention, Peter Obi and Alex Otti were given free tickets for 2027 general election under my leadership.
2023?
In 2024.
Okay.
In 2024, in the convention that brought in this leadership, Alex Otti and Peter Obi were given free tickets and sold tickets for the 2027 general election so that they can use that 3 years, sustain that momentum, and win the 2027 general election. Does such personality look like who would be used by a political party to destabilize the party? I want to tell you clearly that it's Alex Otti himself that is being used to destabilize the party. Alex Otti and Peter Obi were the ones who went to Umuahia, if you recall, and handpicked people to set up a critical committee that factionalized the party. And that's where the crisis of the party started. Is that my making? Am I the one that created that? So the monster that have affected the party was actually created by Alex Otti and followed by Peter Obi, as you can see. So I'm not being used in any. I'm only defending myself. You will recall that I have spent years in the party, building it, arranging the party, looking for people of like minds to come and run in the party. And that was how we brought people like Alex Otti and co, believing that they will be able to change the trajectory of the party. And we did in 2023. So does that look like somebody who can be used by anybody to destabilize the party? The party grew under me, became big, became large, became popular under me. And it will shock you to know that over the years, I've been very close to people in APC, close to people in PDP. And I never left Labour Party for those parties. Is it now that the party is large, that is capable of winning the election under my leadership, that I will now destabilize it? I mean, common sense. But when people want to resort to blackmail to achieve their purpose, some of us laugh and look at them, knowing that with time, issues will play out itself. And those who are playing the hide and seek game will be known. The truth of every situation is not hidden. I mean, campaign will soon start. Electioneering will soon start. And we will know who is who in the country and who is who in the Labour Party.
All right, let's go back to 2022, when Peter Obi left the PDP. There were other parties available for him to have moved into, but somehow Labour Party became the vehicle for him. Walk us through that part. Did you approach him or he approached you? And what role exactly did you play in all of that?
I think that Peter Obi joining the party was the foundation that we laid. Before I took over the leadership of the party, the Labour Party was largely unknown, so to speak. But when I took over the leadership of the party, I decided to launder the image of the party and strategically position it for what you saw in 2022-2023 general election. The party is a brand, having its own philosophy, having its own ideology, but it was subsumed, and we felt that we needed to make it look different. And so we started looking for people with like minds, people we can work with, people who are different that we can actually sell. And that was how we started sourcing for people to join the party. We actually worked so hard to rebrand the party, and I'm sure that what happened in 2022, 2023 is what you can testify to. So it was actually our work, our foundation, hard work, commitment, dedication, sacrifices to the party that brought it to that level. We have had national chairmen in the party over the years, but none of them could do what we achieved with the party in 2022, 2023. So it became the envy of people. Nana Usma came to support Peter Obi presidential campaign. She wasn't even a member of the party. But because of the hard work that we did, because of the foundation that we laid and brought the party to where it is, people are now interested in taking over the leadership of the party. It is our work, our foundation that we laid that is there. And it's very clear that you've seen.
Did you, like I said, did you approach Peter Obi to join Labour, or he approached you people to join Labour Party?
I think we sent people. He was looking for a platform, and we felt we could work with him, and so we sent people to approach him, and so we got him to come and run under the platform of the party. We actually sent the national organizing secretary then to speak with him and bring him to run under the platform of the party, because, like I said, we're looking for credible Nigerians that we could use to drive the process of development for the country and for the party.
When Peter Obi came into the party, Pat Utomi stepped down as the presidential candidate of the party. Was it designed in such a way for Peter Obi to pick the ticket, or what role did you play in getting that particular setup?
I need to make it clear that we had 6 presidential aspirants.
Really?
Yes. 6 presidential aspirants, including Pat Utomi. But Pat Utomi was the most prominent, was the most visible among all the presidential candidates. All others, seeing Peter Obi, stepped down. And so, but we needed to also talk to Pat Utomi to step down for Peter Obi on the day of the presidential primaries. We actually had candidates. Peter Obi was the one that joined last. You will recall that he joined us around May 2022. And before that time, we already had 5 presidential aspirants who wanted to run under the party. I can remember Sammy Charles. I can remember one Mrs. Stella. And a couple of them. The records are there. You know, history and records are always there. And, by the time you dig into it, you will you see it for yourself. So I actually played the role of stabilizing the party and appealing to those other aspirants to step down for Peter Obi, because at that time we believed that he was the biggest, he had the capacity to drive that process. And so I actually managed that process and ensured that every other aspirant agreed with me and allowed Peter Obi to go.
All right, when he won the primaries, and what was the agreement between you and him? Was there any formal deal or an informal understanding or a gentleman's agreement how the party should be run, probably after the elections?
There was nothing spectacular. I must say that I was working very closely with Peter Obi, as you can deduce. There was nothing formal. It was agreed that the leadership of the party will continue to work together and build the party for the future. What was paramount in our mind was having an alternative party that will have the capacity to win election, building a party for the future. That was what was paramount in our minds. And then there was no special deal as to how the party would be run and so on and so on. Of course, what runs the party, what guides the operation of the party, is the party constitution, which all members are supposed to abide with. The party constitution is sacrosanct. All other legal instruments, electoral act, constitution, and so on, guide the operations of the constitution. So there was no special agreement as to any interest or anything as to how we can run the party.
On election day, February 25, 2023, when the results started pouring in and President Tinubu was ahead, so to be leading, can you take us through the conversations in those moments between you and him within that period?
Well, within that period, because we also getting feedbacks as to what was happening in the field, and we believe that we actually won the election. So the thinking was, how do we defend the vote? How do we go to court? How do we make sure that issues are done properly so that there is justice, there is equity in the system? And I'm sure that you saw that even when there was pressure that people wanted to enter the street, we then believed in the judicial process and we said, okay, let us allow the judicial process to go on. And you saw that I was the face of the court process. We followed all through, and you know that the rest is now history.
After the Supreme Court affirmed President Tinubu's election victory, a lot of Nigerians expected Labour Party probably to regroup and plan for 2027. But unfortunately, that seemed to be the beginning of the end. And then what we saw was like Labour Party pressing the self-destruct button. At what point did you think Peter Obi became no longer an asset? But
I want to say that it's very regrettable, very disturbing as to what happened to Labour Party. Immediately after the presidential election and after the court case, if you recall, I came out with two cardinal programs. First, I concluded that we needed a viral political education. First, to sustain the momentum of Nigerians. And secondly, to continue to educate Nigerians on the need for them to defend their rights and keep the consciousness of the people. Because you need the people at all points to be able to achieve anything democratically. Secondly, I saw the flaws in the Electoral Act that aided what happened with the 2022-2023 general election. And I came up to say that we needed a comprehensive electoral reform in our system. And I said, if you recall, go and check the video. January, you see those videos that I did. It was an elaborate press conference where we unveiled moving forward in Labour Party. And we talked about comprehensive reform of the electoral process, where we talked about amendment of the Electoral Act, the role of INEC, the role of the security agencies, and all of that. Our thinking was that if we're able to build on that momentum and take it from that time to this 2027, the chances of the party would have been brighter. And I was pursuing that. Ironically, people became hungry to capture the party, and the crisis started unabated, as you saw in the party, from one crisis into another crisis. And ironically, when INEC came in 2024 to say that tenure had expired, even when we had organized the convention in April, I had expected that Peter Obi and Alex Otti, who were the leaders of the party, to have teamed up with the leadership of the party to fight the injustice, knowing that it was a reprisal attack on the party. But what did they do? They went to Umuahia and divided the party into two, came up with this caretaker committee that eventually became the albatross that eventually almost destroyed the soul of the party. So it was at that point when Alex Otti and Peter Obi went to Umuahia to set up a caretaker committee that I saw Alex Otti and Peter Obi as being a destructive element to the party instead of being an asset. It was at that point when they went to Umuahia to set up a caretaker committee, a party, an executive that already gave you tickets, the two of you, to run for 2026, sold tickets. I have thought that reasonable leaders would have built on that moment. No matter what may have been the grievances, no matter what people may have been saying, no matter what may have been the issue, I probably thought that they would have done better by keeping the party together for 2027. I think it would have paid all sides better. Because you know the trajectory, moving from one place to the other and struggling and so on and so forth. And whether we like it or not, what you built for 3 years and what you are going to build for 8 months will not give you the same result. It may amount to what you did the first time. So, and when you adopt the same approach on a matter, you won't get a different result. So we had thought that if we had built the party for 3 years, it would have given a better result than what you are likely to have.
What were the things that you didn't do that if given a different scenario, you think you would have done better?
Probably Nigerians would have probably defended their vote more or something, I don't know. I think we did our best within the circumstances we found ourselves.
You accused the Peter Obi of becoming an anti-democratic after the 2023 election. What specifically did he do that made you call him anti-democratic?
At the point they went to Umuahia to handpick people to become members of the National Critical Committee, I didn't see that as democratic. I probably thought he would have done better, because for somebody that we thought would have been different, somebody we believe in democracy, believe in due process, somebody who has quarreled with rascalism, quarreled with impunity, I didn't think it was proper to have gone to Umuahia to handpick people and call them National Working Committee, and then dissolve all structure of the party from national to wards. I think that was too undemocratic. I want to believe that even Tinubu, even Atiku, will not behave in that manner. And that team was the winning team. That was the team that led them into the 2023 general election, that produced a governor, produced 8 senators, produced 35 House of Rep members, and produced numerous State House of Assembly members. So going to Umuahia to say you sack everybody and set up a critical committee because INEC has said so was highly undemocratic. And I felt that that was too much. That was not fair. It was morally wrong. It was legally wrong. It was wrong in all its ramifications. And didn't represent what we have portrayed them to be.